Talk about that quiz. Woo-hoo. Uh, let's talk about what that quiz was, why we needed to do it the way that we did, what we learned from that experiment, and what we're going to do to rectify that. Most importantly, uh, we when we look at how we are going to deliver assessment materials to you, I want, as your instructor, to preserve the in-class experience as much as possible. And what I mean by that is you are taking notes on a piece of paper. I want you to be able to write your answers to examinations on a piece of paper. Multiple choice, BS. Short answer, handwritten examinations are the best way to judge and evaluate student performance. So we're going to stick to that. We just have to, as a class, figure out how to preserve that. The only way I could think of doing that is by printing off an exam at home. And in order to do that portion, we have to come up with some sort of system by which to deliver that at home. And that's what I've kind of come up with. This, you got, for a quiz, you've got 15 minutes to take it, and then you got 5 minutes to resubmit it. And in order to do so, we have to understand how to print our examination, write on it, and submit it, or we have to figure out how to look at the examination or quiz, a template on how you're supposed to submit your answer, and then follow that template on a blank sheet of paper so that you can then submit that blank sheet of paper and its answers in the same format as you would have if you used a printed examination to me. And so we got through that process, and we tried the trial quiz, and a number of you gave that a try, and I really appreciate you taking that opportunity to do that. But I knew that you wouldn't take that opportunity to do that, and we needed to have what was viewed in that moment as a real quiz to work out these kinks. Turns out one of the kinks that I needed to work out on this quiz was the fact that I don't want your names on the quizzes, but I asked for your name on the quiz. And so I have a new way to deal with that, and I'm going to talk about that in just a second. And then a number of you encountered a number of issues, from not knowing where your examination ID number was, to not knowing what a template was, to not understanding how to submit your answers in a PDF, to not understanding how to use PDF uploading software. All of this was normal and expected, and none of you should feel stupid for having issues with this. Unfortunately, we just couldn't get you to try this stuff without making you think at the moment that what you were doing was going to be graded. And so with that being said, we finished that quiz. And now let's talk about what I believe my philosophy to be as your instructor, and how we're moving forward with that. What I gave you was a fake quiz. I needed to figure out if there were any mistakes on my end, and I needed you to work through any misconceptions or misunderstandings on your own. And we needed to have an instance to do that. Now that we've gone through that, that quiz is not going to count at all. It just isn't. And so now we are going to retake that quiz. Why are we going to retake this quiz? The reason is simple. In this idea of delivering material to you at home and retaining the in-class experience in doing so, and trying to preserve it, we run into a twofold problem. Problem number one is that there's the material involved with the examination or quiz, and problem number two is there's stress that's involved with the downloading and then returning of and submission of that quiz or examination as well. And so those two things coupled together could make you perform poorly on the quiz or the examination. And I want to decouple the submission process from the understanding and demonstrating ability to command this material on the quiz. And so if we're going to separate those two things, let's retake the quiz now that you've gone through this submission process. Here is as you learn the new instructions. Please read through these just to make sure. But what's happening here is you will have 20 minutes to complete and submit your quiz just like before. And on this quiz, you will be asked to only provide your identification number. You'll download this, you'll print it off, take the quiz, scan it, submit it back, and as you learn, and you're done. Or if you don't have a printer, you'll download you'll open the quiz, you'll open the template, you'll grab a piece of blank paper, you'll write down everything that's in black on the template on your paper along with your answers. Then you'll take that piece of paper, you'll scan it and upload it to As You Learn for your submission. Then you have 20 minutes to complete that process. Once you are done submitting that quiz, then after you're done and free of that, I don't want this to be a part of your time constraints. Your academic integrity form, you will then download and sign and submit or fill out on a blank piece of paper, again using the black portion on your form and sign that thing again and submit that completely separate from the time limitation as well. So I don't want you to think that that's going to add any amount of stress. Please make sure that you submit in the correct file name. For this one, for the new quiz, it will be your 3-digit numbers that you can find in an email, space, quiz01 space redo as your title name when you submit. So that's what's happening with the quiz. You have until Thursday at 11:59 p.m. That's midnight essentially to complete the quiz 1 redo. This will be the one that is graded for a record for our first quiz. Now, let me just take a quick moment and talk to you about life and about how this course can help prepare you and where you sit. There are 64 of you in this course. Of that 64 of you, 17 of you gave the trial quiz a shot. And in doing so, 14 out of those people had no issue submitting their actual quiz 01. Of the remaining people that didn't try the trial quiz, I had a total of 20 questions on the quiz, of which 17 of those questions were already answered in previous emails. I don't feel bad about that. I'm not angry about that. We're trying this new system out that we've never worked on before. It was our first time through. And so all of those things, are considerations that we have to work through. And this is just part of teaching. And so I'm not the type of professor that's going to get all bent out of shape because you didn't know how to do something you haven't done before. And that's why we're working through this process yet again, is to drive home how to do it so that you don't have to worry about it. But in the grand scheme of some of you wanting to go to medical school or professional school or something like that, PA school after this, you have to find a way to distance yourself from your peers. You got to find a way to be able to demonstrate how smart and intelligent each and every single one of you are. You were given a chance to do a dry run of no consequence, then download the key, see how you did, grade your own quiz, the trial, and just make sure that you had command of that process. Of the students that did that, I commend you, because you are already doing the things that you need to distance yourself from your peers. And then getting into medical school is going to be a lot easier because you're already demonstrating the skills that you need to in order to be at the top. For the students that didn't try this stuff and messed up, looking at an email for your 3-digit number, messed up submitting your exam with their quiz with the right file name. For students that did that, no big deal. Again, I'm dedicated to the learning process and I'm here to teach you. And I want to teach you about life. Right now, if you're given the opportunity to go through a process and command that process, now you know what you need to take advantage of so that you can play the game with the peers that are already doing that. Take those advantages. Take those opportunities. That's all I have to say. We're all in this together. That's just a learning opportunity for all of us. I think I cleaned everything up. If you run into any more issues on this quiz that I might have messed up, which I likely could have, please let me know. And hopefully this gives you more confidence now with the submission process, and you're not penalizing yourself on the quiz, demonstrating your actual understanding. Download the quiz when you have 15 minutes. Show me you understand and command this material. Get 100% on it. I'll get them graded. Have a fantastic Tuesday.